Landscape makeovers are so much fun. Today we're putting the finishing touches on an amazing backyard transformation. You won't want to miss it, so stay tuned as we garden smart.
These moments of beauty and relaxation are brought to you by Proven Winners Flowering Shrubs, where every plant is performance tested, leaving you free to just enjoy. Find our award-winning shrubs at your local garden center.
Memphis Wood Fire Grills, with the convenience of our patented IntelliBurn technology and convection oven cooking. Sear a steak, roast vegetables, bake cookies, or smoke meat using the power of Memphis Wood Fire Grills.
DRAM has been providing gardeners with professional equipment for over 80 years. DRAM products feature 9 water patterns and are designed to nurture your plants with a shower of rain. DRAM for lawn and garden, available at garden centers near you.
You have to rely on your gear, the way it feels, the way it does exactly what you need it to do. The F-Pace, how Jaguar makes an SUV.
So much work has gone into making this yard a warm, inviting, and beautiful haven for relaxation and entertaining. A lot of the heavy lifting is out of the way, and now we turn our attention to the finer point details that really brings everything together. One of the most important aspects of making this site perfect was selecting and installing the right turf grass for the lawn. Mark Kohia with LDC is back with us today to talk us through that part of the project. One thing that was very important to the homeowner with this design was that this area would be open and usable. They've got, you know, they like to entertain back here.
Right.
You know, they've got a bunch of dogs they like to have run around. And so the turf was a very important part of this design.
Yes.
So that they could have a wide open yard that they could use in that way. And selecting the right turf, of course, is very important because, you know, you've got certain challenges with this site. Not the least of which is, you know, they've got a fair amount of shade.
Exactly, and that's why we went with the Xeon zoysia back here. One is very shade tolerant. It's very resistant to diseases. It can also take the heavier traffic better than the fescue.
When we look at using turf in a design, selecting the right turf has everything to do with the ultimate success of that design.
Right.
There's a ton of new cultivars out there. Grass has come a long way also in the last 20, 30 years. And now we have cultivars that are very specifically designed for these different unique situations that we encounter in landscaping. And so you can find something, if you know it's going to be high traffic, you can find turfs that take that better. If you know it's going to be a wetter environment, find turfs that take that better. And so selecting the right turf for that site, super important. Otherwise, it's probably just a waste of money if you put the wrong grass in.
Right, and then there are other options available that it's become more popular now. We put in a lot of synthetic turf,
right,
similar to what the sports fields are putting in. A lot of dog parks are using it. A lot of homeowners use it if the area is too shady, if they still want that grass.
Right,
So
right.
we'll install synthetic turf as well.
There's so much more to turf grass than you might think. Luckily, Beth Verbeek with Harmony Brands is here to help. Beth, thanks so much for joining us. This looks amazing.
Thank you, Eric. So excited to be here. This has been a huge transformation.
No doubt.
This poor yard was, there was a lot of shade back here and it was
Right.
really unusable. Being able to get in here and landscape and lay this sod has turned it into a space in the home that the family can really fully enjoy.
It's amazing to see how transformative sod is. If you look at what this site was before this whole project, I don't imagine they spent a whole lot of time back here.
No, for sure. I think their dogs did, but I'm not sure that they really got to enjoy it. And now it's absolutely a place that the whole family can enjoy. One of the challenges they faced back here is the fact that it was under shade, and so we were able to come in with a variety of Xeon grass that is shade tolerant and is going to be low maintenance and something that they're going to continue to enjoy for years to come.
And this is a fairly large install compared to what many folks would do, but it's actually not as hard as one might think.
This is a little bit bigger job than a lot of people feel comfortable taking on, but there's absolutely no reason that you should feel intimidated by a job this size. I think most people average job size, maybe it's just patch and repair of an existing lawn,
Right.
but it's around 50 square feet. And this is a little bit larger than that. But what it really boils down to is just doing a little bit of research for what's good for your area. And you don't have to know the varieties. You don't have to know all that stuff. You can use resources like lawncentral.com, and that's going to point you towards what's regionally appropriate and how you prepare your site, what you need to do ahead of time, laying the sod itself, and then how you maintain it afterwards to give you that successful experience.
Absolutely. Very little is more important than making sure you select the right grass.
Yes.
And so just like any other plant we would use in the garden, you need to know what is its shade tolerance, what is its sun tolerance. So we knew this was a shady site, so we got the right cultivar. And then the next most important thing is your site preparation. Grass is no different than any of these shrubs we have over here. You've got the green side up and you've got the root side down, and it's got to integrate with the native soil. And so laying sod on top of like hard pan clay, not a good idea.
No.
Doesn't mean it can't work, but it's not a good idea. And so you want to make sure that you've got really good agitation. Many sites would definitely benefit from soil amendments. You want to make sure that you've got good drainage, so those roots can penetrate deep, and the deeper into the soil the roots go, the less water you're going to have to ultimately give it, so it's going to be a more durable turf.
Yes.
So make sure that your site is well prepared.
It's for sure something that you can do, like you said, with some basic legwork ahead of time.
Right.
And then even simple things like when you are rolling sod, you need to make sure that those roots get wet very quickly, and so you can water the dirt before you lay the sod down. There's little tips and tricks like that that are going to help make it successful.
If we go to a store to buy our sod, what do we need to be looking at? What's important?
Sod is the most perishable live good that's out there. It is extremely short shelf life. In a lot of cases, what's happening when you see palletized sod at a big box store, it's been cut even in the middle of the night, because that soil temperature in those pieces of sod is going to be what eventually makes it rot if it stays palletized.
Right.
So we're trying to get the lowest soil temperature possible and harvesting maybe 2-3 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
Then it's shipping to the stores, it's getting there as fresh as possible, but it really needs to be sold. It needs to come home to your yard and for you to lay that in your yard within 48 hours, ideally after being harvested. And in the cooler seasons, you get a little bit longer of a window, which is a little more forgiving for homeowners, obviously. But you want to find sod. It's okay if it looks a little dry. You don't want to water it when it's palletized. So if you go to a store and you see sod that looks a little bit dry, that's okay. Get it home and get it laid down and get it watered. But at the same time, if you've got a job where you're going to need any size volume, it's best to just order it and have it shipped straight to your home, because
Right.
we can harvest it and then deliver it and cut out any additional time on the pallet.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that Harmony is great at, getting fresh, excellent grass
Yes.
to the site quick. And of course, once it arrives, you really want to get it put down as quickly as you can.
Yes, absolutely. Water it in, get it laid down, get it watered in, and start enjoying your lawn as quickly as possible.
Absolutely. Any other maintenance that we need to think about? Once we've got it watered in and we've got good roots going down, it's just a matter of occasional fertilization, depending upon the grass?
Yes, you want to wait 2 or 3 weeks before you start mowing. And there's similar recommendations for fertilizer applications. And then it just becomes a seasonal cadence like you would any other plant.
Well, Beth, you've got me super excited about turf now. I've got to go figure out a place to put some in my garden now.
I love it.
Thank you so much. Mark, I've only ever done a couple of outdoor lighting installations. They've been very, very simple. These are more just the plug and play little solar powered ones. This installation is a little more complex. Talk us through how you put all this together.
Well, what we want to do is just feature the landscaping. You know, since the homeowners invested so much money into the landscaping back here, let's enjoy it at nighttime as well. What areas do you want to highlight? Where's the heavy traffic going to be? Sometimes it's best to go into it, less is better.
Sure.
But it also depends on what you're going to do in your backyard or your front yard. It also adds a lot of security to the house.
Yeah, well, this one really came together well, and I'm sure that they love it. I mean, at night, it really changes the way that this place looks.
Yeah, this homeowner, you know, they got the TVs outside, they do a lot of entertaining, they have the kids, you know, so they've done a lot of path lighting to highlight the steps, even into the woods off the side here a little bit, and around the fire pit.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much investment that goes into a nice garden, and oftentimes outdoor lighting is something that we don't think about.
Right.
But it really, really makes a huge impact, and I think it's something that elevates any garden design.
Oh yeah, definitely it does.
It's time to figure out the outdoor lighting for this installation. Let's meet up with Russ Halsey with LDC to discuss our options. Russ, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Well, today we're talking about outdoor lighting. I remember the first outdoor lighting installation I did probably 20 years ago, and it was complicated actually. You know, we were burying a bunch of wires in trenches, you know, that laid in the irrigation trenches.
Right, absolutely.
And you know, it was just old school. It was you know, set on a basic, you know, mechanical timer. And you know, it was good for what it is. And in a short 20 years, it's a totally different ball game now.
Right. Outdoor lighting is very important for homeowners to accent their landscape. They invest a lot of money on their landscape, so they want to accent it at night so you can enjoy it as well. 20 years ago, that's all there was mechanical. You had to go out and physically set the timer, and any time you want to change it, you had to actually go out there and change it. Today, it's progressed to web-based Bluetooth technology and also LED lighting, which is highly efficient, cuts down on your power bills, but still you get to enjoy the lighting outside. The basics of running wire are still there. They haven't completely gone to wireless yet, but they're getting there. Some of the basics are still there, but the technology side of it has greatly increased in the past 20 years.
So Russ, this is one of the more recent outdoor lighting installations that you've done. Can you talk us through what you guys put in here?
Well, on this project, we had a couple of small paths that we wanted to light up to get from the house over to the outdoor kitchen area. Okay. So we put a couple of lights in there as well. Then he has a big fire pit area where we put a light up to shine down on it so you can enjoy the fire pit at night without any concerns. I believe we also put some on the deck shining down into the grass area to help get from the fire deck back to the house. He also had several trees along the back of his property that we wanted to uplight just to enhance those trees as well.
When you're looking at a project and the homeowner, you know, is thinking, I want to basically make this just a wonderful nighttime experience, what options are available to them?
If you want it done properly, is to get a professional to come out and take a look at your yard. There are several design aspects to take into account.
There's a lot of ways that we can accentuate the architecture of a home with outdoor lighting too. Absolutely,
absolutely. We do a lot of uplighting and downlighting as well to accent the architectural aspects of the home.
Now with the advent of LEDs, of course, as you said, we're saving a lot of power. These bulbs last way longer than incandescents, but also we can introduce color into the landscape, which I think is super cool.
Absolutely. So the new technology with the LED bulbs, where you can go on your app and actually pick each individual light to make it a different color. Wow. You can make them all the same color.
I mean, it's so high tech now. Talk me through what we can do with, I mean, the programming can be just done from your phone, right?
There's Bluetooth technology, which your app connects to each individual bulb. And then there's the web-based controller where you go on your app. You can program the entire year, go on the schedule, say on July 4th, I want them to be this color. On Halloween, I want them to be this color, and program it that way.
My setup is not nearly as sophisticated as the one that you're talking about here, but the ones that I have, they have like a little solar panel on the top of them, so super easy to plug in, and they just naturally turn on when it gets dark. It's a meaningful upgrade over what lighting was, you know, even 10 years ago.
Right. These are controlled by the controller itself, not the individual solar panel.
Gotcha.
but it's more accurate because it knows when the sun sets and when the sun rises.
Russ, where do you see the future of outdoor lighting going?
We can actually get the outdoor lighting to be even more efficient. We can have brighter bulbs, longer lasting bulbs.
In the same way that the garden becomes an extension of the home, we look at this garden, you know, this was a fairly plain backyard that they didn't really use. The garden becomes an extension of the home, but the outdoor lighting allows the garden itself to have an extended range of enjoyment. A garden without outdoor lighting kind of sets when the sun sets.
Right.
Outdoor lighting makes this a really, really exciting place, and it's more affordable, I think, than most people think. And just what it adds to a garden, it's amazing. I think it's something that every homeowner ought to look into.
Absolutely. Most systems are very affordable if designed and installed properly. They last a very long time, and it also helps with resale of the house as well. It increases the value of the house to the next homeowner as well.
Right, awesome. Well, thank you, Russ. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me.
What garden is complete without its fair complement of containers? Michael Carr is back with us today to help us pick just the right ones. Michael Carr is an amazingly talented container designer, and his designs really span almost anything you could imagine in the world of containers. And the containers have made such a huge impact in this landscape. And I want you to talk through the process of selecting the right container for a landscape.
Well, I tell you, when I first started this business, I had you select A or B, right? And then I learned, as the years go by and you listen to your customers and all, there are a myriad opinions and choices and things people would like to make for themselves. I can't just say pick this one or pick that one. So over the years, I've developed a catalog. It's over 400 pages of products, and I treat this business like a fashion business. Ladies come in the next year, they want to see this or this or this. They don't want to see the same thing. So we create a lot of options. And I'll have customers ask me, what's the most popular, which one is the best, and so forth. And I really don't get into that because it's a personal thing. It's an artistic piece of the garden, and people have their own opinions, right? So one person may love blue, person may love teal, and in this particular case, this lady in this particular yard, she loved white and black because it kind of matched up the scheme she was looking for. And that really brings me to a point. It's not, when we create all of these pieces, I have like 125 different color schemes, and that's not even counting textures and things such as that. There's a lot of options to it. But when she chose the white, it brought me back years ago when everybody in the industry called something white and really wasn't a white. It was kind of a smoky looking color. Right. So it's not like you can go to a paint store and say, oh, I want it just like this. Here's the card, match it up. Glaze pieces, glaze is not paint. So we create things out of recipes, 12, 14 different ingredients, crush them up, mix them up, liquefy them, and so forth. And then not only that you put them on, you got to decide, how hot do I cook it? How long do I cook it at that temperature? Or how slow does it go up and how slow does it come back down, and so forth. There's a lot of things that goes into that. So it took me about 2 years experimenting back and forth, trial and error, not just even the recipe of the glaze, but how long you cook it, but even how you apply this particular color to get it. But now that we got it, this particular color is really, really hot in our business. It's a glossy, beautiful white that just pops.
Yeah, I love seeing this in the context of a landscape or in a garden. You know, oftentimes we think about just the typical ways that containers are used. We think of them sitting on patios, decks, etc. But I love seeing containers integrated into the landscape. They provide a focal point for the eye, little pops of color, and like you said, it's a very, individual, personal decision as to, what they want in their garden. But this white, you can see it from all the way across the garden, and it really, really makes an impact. When we're using containers in the context of a landscape or a garden, there's a couple of things that we need to think about, because now they're sitting on, what could be an uneven surface or a softer substrate, than say our brick patio.
Right.
What do we need to keep in mind to make sure that we're using them correctly in the landscape?
When you put pieces out in the landscape on soil and mulch and stuff like that, over time it's going to settle. So it is my recommendation, clean out the area, pack it down, make sure it's level, and then put a concrete block or stepping stone or something because it spreads out the weight a little bit more. If you don't, it's going to do what it's doing right here. But it is important. Take that extra 15 minutes or so, Do it right. The cement and all is not that expensive, right? Just do it right, and it'll last there for a long, long time. Plus, it protects so the root doesn't go down into the dirt and clog up the pots, and there's a lot of reasons for that.
Michael, it's incredible how big a difference a little attention to detail makes. And now that we've got these leveled up, I mean, you can tell it's actually a pretty stark difference. Great work.
Well, I feel better now. I feel better. I could look at it and feel good about it. Because you're right, it didn't take long, and it takes even less time if you do it before you put dirt in it and plants and things such as that, because they are pretty heavy when you try to pick them up, move them, and so forth. So you've invested a good bit in something that'll last forever and ever, a piece of art. Just little things about maintaining makes a difference.
Yeah, by design, it is a focal point, and keeping it fresh really does make a difference. And, you know, I like to, every time I change the plants out, that's a good time to, you know, really touch the pot up, make it look nice. Great. And before you're having folks over, it's always a wonderful time, too, to just spruce things up a little bit.
You got it.
Each week we travel the country north to south, east to west, visiting some of the most exciting gardens, as well as talking to industry horticulturalists about design principles, new plants, and also how you can be most successful with your home gardens. We also love answering your gardening questions, so visit us on the web at GardenSMART.com.
These moments of beauty and relaxation are brought to you by Proven Winners Flowering Shrubs, where every plant is performance tested, leaving you free to just enjoy. Find our award-winning shrubs at your local garden center.
Memphis Wood Fire Grills, with the convenience of our patented IntelliBurn technology and convection oven cooking. Sear a steak, roast vegetables, bake cookies, or smoke meat using the power of Memphis Wood Fire Grills.
DRAM has been providing gardeners with professional equipment for over 80 years. DRAM products feature 9 water patterns and are designed to nurture your plants with a shower of rain. DRAM for lawn and garden, available at garden centers near you.
You have to rely on your gear. The way it feels, the way it does exactly what you need it to do. The F-Pace, how Jaguar makes an SUV.
What a day! It's amazing to see how much the right turf, lighting, and containers really bring a landscape together. If you have questions about anything you've seen today, visit us on the web at GardenSMART.com. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram. And remember, even if you're a master gardener, there's always more to learn. So join us next week for more exciting tips and ideas as we garden smart.